going to listen to that answer and say, well, it's those darn lawyers who are pushing it up.
Yeah, and you know what? We hear that from the industry all the time. Every time the industry comes to the government and asks for rate increases, they say that we're paying too much out on these claims. I represent a number of people who have been seriously injured, and I can tell you every dollar that they receive, they need. Now, of course, we're not talking the frauds or the exaggerations, and all that has to be under control. But the industry, when they come and they look for increases because the return of equity is low, they ask for either an increase in premiums or they ask for a reduction or cut in compensation to be awarded to people. What we don't see is them talking about business practices. We've already heard some companies are reducing their rates.
Which is a good piece of news, isn't it?
What about underwriting practices, setting their reserves? What about their investments? And really, at the end of the day, if you're going to increase the premiums, simply don't make it just to compensate the industry. You got to look at the value of the product.
I think said it all. You don't like it, but what are you going to do about it? So we're going to answer that, what you're going to do about it. Patrick Brown, insurance lawyer, and Barb Suzenko Laurie from the Insurance Bureau of Canada. Just before the break, you were talking about the reasons for the rate increase, which has been approved by a government body. Patrick, you made very careful notes, as a good lawyer would be. A lot of essentially, it seems to be that the costs are going up of servicing.
If costs are going up, you have to take a look at the big picture. Why are those costs going up? I mean, in Ontario, we have one of the most complicated auto insurance legislations in the nation. It's more complicated.
How is it complicated?
Well, for instance, 75% of 120 pages is associated to procedural, while 25% talks about the benefits that are available to individuals. It's more complicated than the Income Tax Act. And so, I mean, one way is certainly simplify that system, try to reduce the transaction costs. For instance, assessments. $1 for every medical and rehabilitation benefit paid out to an individual who's been hurt. There's another 60 cents that goes to assessors just to assess to see whether or not that individual needs that.
Hang on, Barb, because you're going back to, we're talking about the fact that the costs to deal with these claimants is more in Ontario. Patrick, very quickly, we have to take a break.
It's once again, every time the industry is looking at this issue, they say, number one, how do we respond to increasing costs? Raise premiums or cut benefits. Well, take a hard look at the industry itself and the transactional costs associated, and perhaps the money can be found there as opposed to the backs of the consumer.
I want you both to know Queen's Park always listens to this show at noon, so we're going to get some action on that. We're going to take a break. Back with more of your comments.